So Zach, okay, you said you're from Maryland. You said you're from the marshes. Where specifically?
Ocean City, Maryland, and that is a coastal wetland. It is protected nationally or I would say federally and by the state. We have
And then you said that the businesses have a seasonal model, and you also said that their media is not great. Can you explain that? Like, what do you mean their media is not great?
So what happened in corporate media in the early 2000s when Comcast took off was a new package for businesses because Comcast knew that they could make a lot of money through marketing, and so did a lot of other television providers. And so they saw that businesses were spending a lot of money on television, but some businesses couldn't because they didn't have production. So they came up with production teams, and across a lot of their smaller organizations, like your local news agencies, they had these production teams that would be able to go out and service the businesses to be able to go and have airtime. And so they created a solution to a problem that they saw for marketing. And unfortunately, that's just diluted over the last 20 years, like really bad.
What do you
And
mean
what
by
we
that?
see here, maybe originally you had some pretty strong creatives that were on some of these teams, but majority of them were going to be in the cities. So any teams that were in rural areas or smaller populated areas wouldn't have that creative talent. So when you have these people in bigger cities over time leaving because of competitive rates, you now have that talent that was probably at the same rate as some of these rural areas coming into the city, creating that content. Now, what do you think it looks like in the rural areas? Well, it gets even worse. And so that's what we've seen. We've seen content get to a point where, I mean, you could probably make the same content in your house.
Yeah. So what is it? I mean, do you actually believe in content? Do you think that the content? What's the point? What's the point of putting in all this money and all this effort into? Like I spent a lot of money on my personal brand, right?
Yeah.
I know why I'm doing it because I want some ethos and I want to also put some things out there. But for the average business owner that's just getting by or trying to understand this stuff, like what is the benefit of just sitting behind a phone screen for an hour a week or something and making some stuff and putting it out?
The great thing is for businesses to hear this message is everyone traditionally has worked and built their business on word of mouth. It's always been word of mouth. Social media is now the digital word of mouth. So it'd almost be crazy that we don't utilize traditional word of mouth and digital word of mouth to expand our business. And so when you do that, you bring attention to your concept, and that's the only way that you can really start scaling. Now, you can do that, again, word of mouth. You can do that through other marketing methods. But when you're focusing just on one, you're almost like in a baseball game, and you're waiting for that grand slam to win the game. Why wait on a grand slam? Why just focus on content when you could have a organic content strategy, an advertising content strategy? You could also have billboards. You can have mail marketing. You can have
but all that
events
costs
rolling.
money, right? So like
It will
what's-
cost money, but you can't really focus on one too much. You have to at least have multiple avenues. So if I was just posting organic content and hoping that it would scale everything without a website or without certain things, you see, I can't really think that a business would be able to scale unless you had a grand slam moment where you went viral. And so most businesses don't get those. And that's why you need to have an advertising strategy as well. That's why you also need a website. That's why you also need to have certain other things in your marketing strategy to ensure that you have more chances to hit those grand slams. But then when you do, you can fully capitalize on them.
So, you say grand slams. What does that mean?
A business really just needs one really great product and exposure opportunity to give it itself enough capital to work for over 5 years and be able to scale to its next product. And for restaurants and hospitality, it's really hard. But for e-commerce or for people who are coming up with new concepts, you really could be just in a waiting game. I mean, when you're looking at products that can scale online, yes, you can be posting something out and only be getting 1 to 2 sales every week or every month, but then you have 1 month where you get 30,000 sales of your product. And then from there, you know how to capture that momentum and keep it flowing. Even if it drops down to 10,000 a month, you were at 1 to 2 and now you're at 10,000 a month. Now you have consistent revenue, you have your marketing knowledge and what you've taken over the last couple of years to reinvest that. It's either you get burnt out and you quit, or you keep going and you hit your grand slam to then keep going and hit a grand slam and keep going and hit a grand slam. And that's why a lot of people in content, especially in YouTube, end up not making it. And for people who are watching this right now and are YouTubers, root those people on, because that gives you less competition and allows you to hit a grand slam. You know, when other people quit and you stay another year, you give yourself more of a chance. And so we could be thinking like, okay, we're in year 4, we're in year 6, we're in year 8, and I only have this amount. It could just be year 9 when you finally broke through. And so if you quit at year 8, it's really unfortunate to watch on the sidelines. So the content, you have to treat it like a tool. And I recommend having not just an organic strategy, but also an advertising strategy, because a lot of businesses can take advantage of their local market by forcing their content in front of people who need to see it. Because if people don't know what's going on, they're not going to show up. It's important for practices, hotel or restaurants, business with a physical location. It's super important to especially have Google ads, because people are looking up restaurant or dentist or someone near me. And so when you have a Google search ad, you just are already placed at the top when people look up those results, and then you get more leads that way. So
part of the reason that I started making content was because literally I saw the first webinar that I saw of Grant Cardone. He was like, dude, if I started marketing like 10 years before, I would have double the money that I have right now. And, you know, Grant makes like some pretty outrageous claims, and a lot of people do. But then I went to Ty Lopez's house, right? It was a $200 million mansion that he I guess has on rent or whatever, right? And he was like, guess what? The 2 things that you want the most of in the next 10 years if you want to make money is personal brand and or some sort of technology or application. Now, both of these guys happen to be selling marketing, right? They happen to be selling solutions for marketing. So obviously marketers are going to tell you, you know, go and market. But I think intuitively, I just wanted to break down for, especially my audience is a lot of young leaders, people that are looking to make some sort of change in society. And I always advocate that they build out their personal brands, that they post something on LinkedIn every now and then, that they capture their social media, and at least let people know what they're interested in and excited about. Even when they go to college, you know, if they have something up on their door that says, hey, these are my hobbies, these are the things that I like to do, it helps to at least get your tribe. You know, it helps to at least attract people to have your core values. It helps to create opportunities for you that are more interesting. Right? At the end of the day, life just is either, you know, boring or interesting for you, and there's ways to attract interesting things in life, and that's kind of, you know, my call to people. I'm like, you got to get out there in this world of media. So I wanted to get your 2 cents. Like, say the person doesn't have any fucking money, okay? Say they're just starting out, you know, they're just like, they're watching something like this and they're thinking, well, I have something that maybe should go out there. Like, is it better to put something out there that's not great, or should they wait until it is great?
How do you think I started the company at 19 years old? I don't think any 19 years old or a 19-year-old knows how to run completely a entertainment agency, right? And so forcing myself into the industry made myself grow faster than any other book can teach, just because of the real world experience. And so when you force yourself in front of the content, you don't have to necessarily post, but you can start looking at it. Here's the thought for you, right? We just got done talking about grand slams. If you're posting this content and it's not aesthetically clean, if it's not ruining your reputation with your job or your family, you shouldn't worry about what the world thinks about. You should be worrying about how this is helping you grow. And if you do get a grand slam, imagine you get a following of 20,000. You might not need a business idea now. You might not know how to execute it, but you have now 20,000 leads to remarket to a new product. And that can scale. And that's why it's important to always be creating content, even on separate pages. It could be not perfect content. It could just be random content. But as long as you're building a lead base for you to remarket to in the future, that's the goal of the profile. That's the goal of you creating content, not only to train yourself, not only to grow, but to have a lead base to then remarket to in the future. Like, imagine like you started a company, you didn't know how to, But
Yeah,
because you went
but why would
viral
you
on
even start a
TikTok,
company?
well,
What's the point?
some of these people want to become leaders. Some of these people don't want to work for other people, or they want to be what they call financially free, or maybe they do want to contribute to society, and they see that other people aren't contributing at the way that they would expect.
Yeah, but you
people.
started a business. Do you think you're financially free?
Not currently, but that is
Yeah.
something that could be worked on, and it's something that I'm working on for others, and that is fulfilling. That could be why people start a business, is maybe fulfillment as well.
Business is a lot of work, right? There's a
is.
lot of people that would much rather not think of the ideas, would much rather not have to come up with all the structure and go through all the sales calls and go through all the media and go through all
You're
the
right.
failures, right? Like the vast majority of people, even among leaders, right? I just had a great conversation with Todd, who's my neighbor over at Franklin, who has that building, and he's working in a corporation and he's a phenomenal leader. But for him, the security of having that job supersedes the desire to have something of his own that he calls his own. So I'm always trying to bridge this gap, and I'm always trying to be like really just transparent about this stuff. Like, okay, cool. Media is clearly something that's not going away, right? More and more there's gonna be technologies. I was just talking to my friend Matt. He did Apple Vision. He went into Apple's store and checked out their virtual reality stuff, and he was like, dude, it was fucking surreal. Like it actually felt real. And it was scary. Luckily, it gave him a headache, but I was like, was like cool enough for you to actually like want to be in that world? And he was like, it was pretty convincing. And Matt's not someone that lies, so I was like, wow, like, there is going to be a future where we can just plug in and disappear from real life into another life, right? And media is going to play into that. There's going to be corporations that want to buy your time, that want to buy your attention, and so. I'm of the mindset, learn the game, learn the rules of the game rather than sit idly by. And that's kind of why I've decided to work with you and have media of my own. For the young leaders, for the old leaders, for anyone watching this type of stuff, what is it that you're trying to accomplish in life? All right, fine, you're getting money, right? You're trying to make some money and have freedom. But say you got all the money in the world. Say you do achieve your dream of financial freedom. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what to do with it, unfortunately. And a lot of people are only looking at the money. Some people, they just get lost in that question. I have to ask my employees that are looking to work for me, or applicants that are looking to become employees for me, that same question, because right now I'm just looking for the right intention. My intention right now is going to be impact and change in people's lives. And if I impact them positively through my media, through my art, through my influence, through financial gain, however I can do that, I feel fulfilled personally. And so while finances could cover the bills and keep stress away, finances hopefully will allow me to deploy the teams to change people's lives. How? Well, with this marketing, with this advertising, with talent or connections like you, Turab, we can, in one phone call, change hopefully business trajectory. And if that business was someone's dream, and they now could continue to put food on the table, that impacts a family. And imagine, financial stress and what that does to families. It creates domestic violence disputes. We actively could be contributing to the healing of our society, and that's what's fulfilling to me, is however I can contribute in that way. And it's in this industry, it's in this service, and fortunately for me, this industry has a really dark reputation. So to be a light really helps us stand out.
What type of light?
That's a good question. I'm still going through a identity crisis with that light, I would say.
Yeah.
But if I were to give at least any response to that, it would be just a light in the darkness. That's
Because
why
I know you, right? So I know like a lot of things about you. Like me and you talk a lot, so it's hard for me for you to say things and for me not to dig into it. But I think it also
I want you
makes
to,
for some, I think it also makes for some really interesting moments to think, right? So I was watching Sadhguru talk to this other dude.
What's that? What is that?
Sadhguru?
Mm-hmm.
So Sadhguru is like this yogi from India, okay? And he has a pretty, he's touched like what 2 billion people. He like teaches them how to meditate and like have a spiritual life and like interesting stuff. Yeah,
he's big.
So yeah, he's big. And he was saying that first of all, 90% of atoms, the atoms that make up your basic elements on the element table, 90% of a single atom is empty space. The electron and the neutron inside of an atom 90% of it is empty space. So what we're seeing, the vast majority of what we see is emptiness, actually. But our visual apparatus gives it form. And the forces of the electron and everything, they like push our skin away when we touch something.
Yeah.
Right? But
I know
like
what you're talking about.
waves, yeah, electromagnetic waves and stuff, they just pass through that shit. Right? So we don't really know very much about the universe because we're seeing essentially an abstraction of it to begin with, right? Just to live our lives. But he was saying that peace is actually found in that 99%, that empty space. He was saying that we spend so much of our time thinking about the less than the 1%, that we could be spending a lot more of our time existing in the 99%. Right? When you have emptiness, when you have ignorance, everything is interesting, right?
That's true.
And so when I talk to someone like yourself that's so motivated, and I see like, okay, there's like this like marketing Zach, and then there's like real Zach, and he was talking to this guy that's like an actor, right? And he has this podcast and stuff, and the guy's like, well, when you show up and see celebrities or whatever, you're always just you. Like you don't feel like you need to put on an act or whatever. And he was like, yeah, because it's not an act. It's just raw truth. I'm just telling the truth as I see it. And that was a really interesting point for me because I was like, dude, when you're just living your shit, like your life, you ain't gotta act. You're just you.
That's right.
You know?
So you're saying here for the light and the darkness thing, first, there's two things, because then I'm going to go into what you just said. Light and the darkness, specifically, want to stop people from that neglect, that pain, to feel heard. Now, the other side of it, I do agree. I think sometimes in peace and sometimes in pain are we able to find ourselves and get deeper meanings from it. And ultimately, that brings more peace to us. But when it comes down to me specifically, I want to try to create life rather than destruction. And that's what, that light and the darkness really means. To go off of what you just said, I feel like that's taking a step back from having to think about performance as a CEO and get back to human level shit. Excuse my French. But that's really what it is. Us as high performers, we are, at least myself, I get so locked in, I can't get out of that mindset literally until I go to sleep. And so that is what I think could be the deciding factor of just maybe, be locked in always, but just be yourself. You don't have to have lack of patience. You don't need to always be on edge. Slow down. And that's really what I could take from that myself, what you just said there. How do you feel about that? I think you've already mastered it. Just like talking to you today, you're amazing on the podcast.
yeah. So for the audience, Zach's team's been editing my podcast ever since I started having them. So this is the first time that I've actually had him on, just as a way to help him create content, but also as a way for us to just connect as like just real people, and just like real business owners, and like just give some wisdom based on, I don't know, some of the shit we're going through and what our relationship is like. There's a lot of lessons to be learned from what Zach has gone through. What Zach's gone through is partially what I've gone through, right? We've been working together for the last 3 years, and every developmental thing that's happened with you, right, has come with some sort of developmental thing that's happened with me, right? We're working together all the time for this. So I just, I was always astounded by you in the sense that you're like, dude, when I was 19, when I was 20, I was like straight up, I was getting high every single day, but like all day. And I didn't even do anything with that. Like I would just sit there and watch shit or like have conversations, like think about life. Like I wasn't like, I didn't even know what it meant to build something. Like I had like some ideas, and I had really no self-worth, right? I'd go and show up to my homie's house, and I would go sit there and just like rip bong for like hours. And my mechanical engineering homies would literally just like at some point like look at me and be like they didn't even care to spend time with me. I was the guy that would had no other place to go and would show up to their house just to get stoned, just around people. And then they have people coming through and da-da-da. Like that's what I was doing in like my senior year of college for the most part. I was also a microbiology major, and I had like clubs and stuff that I was doing, but like it wasn't anything substantial, right? Well, I could say right. For some people that's pretty substantial, right? Some people just, but who I am today, just the level of go get it in you, the level of humility. The amount of times that I've like straight up yelled at you and sunned you, and you've just shown up again and just taken it and just been like, yep, I got you, dog. Like keep going. You know, it's impressive. It's really impressive, and I think a lot more young people, and you guys are seeing this now. Like even those tears in Zach's eyes, right? Like that's a lot of pain, and I think we can learn from that. So
There's a lot to learn from that.
yeah, like what do you have to say about all this?
I think there's a lot to say about it, and I pray to God that He blesses my words here, because there's so many things that I could say that I want you to know truthfully, because of how great of a mentor you've been. I think the fire under the ass, while it does bring these emotions, is what's truthfully brought growth and killed the little boy in me, because I think a
Poor
lot
little
of
boy.
things. Well, listen, a lot of people, a lot of men our age, 19, 20, are still little boys, because the difference is their words between their actions. And that's why you're seeing this thing. And I see it too. A lot of the people around my age, or even 2 years younger than me, they still are like, you know, similar to, you know, what you were just saying, are kind of in the not self-identity crisis, but kind of confused as to what bigger things they could be doing, and instead are just going with the flow. And going with the flow is okay with people, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, the go-getter is what's ultimately presented the opportunities that I've gotten today, which is the mentorship also with you. And when you have this fire under my ass and I have this urge to become better, the great things come from it. Like, I actually am able to learn. Most people have this ego, have this cockiness, and have this sense of entitlement. And so when they're talked to by certain people that they don't give respect to, they disrespect it. But they also don't see the value in certain people. There's the difference. I see the value in Turab, not only as a mentor, but also as a friend, as a business partner, as an individual. How I see business is how I see life. I didn't grow up with many friends. I think there's the difference there, Turab. You know, you had a lot of homies. I only had just like a couple on the hand. I came from Virginia Beach up to Maryland when I was 5, turning 6. And here in Ocean City, Maryland, it's a small town. And all of the teachers and all the students' parents kind of grew up with each other. And so they already knew each other. They won't let you hang out with a random kid, right? And so unless the parents knew each other. So it's like I had no way of making friends up till middle school, really. It was really horrible. And so that's what those spent my time in, focusing on myself, on my passion, on the business, on other things, on the music. Then I lost my brother at 16. And that is what I was like, wow, maybe, because I learned from him that he was also an artist and passionate in writing like myself. Maybe if I showed him some of my passion as well, I thought to myself, would he maybe not passed away? And so I took this slight guilt, and I don't put the blame on myself. I definitely don't. But it's a thought that I think. And that's why I said, all right, I'm going to take my passion for music and I'm going to at least publicize it without the worry of what other people can say. And because if I inspire one person, if I help one person, that one person that could have been my brother, I'd feel fulfilled. And since then, it started that artistic journey, which then has kickstarted into this business, into this relationship with Turab. When I was starting the company, our mom said, if it's God's will, he'll foot the bill. Son, I don't have anything for you. You have to work for everything you need to get started. And so, you know, I did. I worked restaurant, and I took my $10,000 in savings and bought the laptop, bought the drone, and got this idea on how to start the production company and the media company and to scale it into an actual entertainment agency, and got the opportunity to go to that Grant Cardone trip. It's when I met Turab, and he gave me an opportunity in a virtual meeting to get his phone number and just even chat with him, spend some time with him. And since then, like what he's said before, energy is attracted, but also two like minds have collided into a new star, I feel.
Just for the audience, like for 6 months, dude, there was no
Straight
contract. There was no like business relationship, really.
I needed to learn.
Dude, for 6 months, me and Zach just like every week I was like, all right, let's just touch base, let's just talk. Let's see what's going on. And at that time, I had a Pakistani company that was like doing my social media.
How much were you paying them? It doesn't matter. I was just curious.
I remember.
Was it around the same rate?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was. I don't actually even remember. That was so fucking long ago. I want to say like 3,000 or something a month, something less. I don't know. So, yeah, it was a lot less. But they were like. I mean, you guys can go back on like my YouTube and stuff. Like you'll see
Yeah, just like
right
the
at the beginning.
beginning videos,
Yeah.
basically. But some of them performed really well because it was a brand new channel, and you saw that. You saw that the YouTube.
Well, that's
saw
when
it
I
was
was posting them. That's the funny part. Like a lot of my videos that actually did well was when I was going, and if that's just letting you guys know, like if I was gonna do any of this stuff over again, I would just create a little bit more time for myself to do the editing and creating the videos and just putting them out there, because there's no one that's gonna care more than you will about your own shit. Like no one under the sun. When Zach gets this raw content, and he looks at this versus his editor looking at this, no one is going to care more than Zach will in terms of flipping this into something else. And so, but I'm also a dentist, and I knew that I needed to spend a lot more time doing that because I can get views, but the hours that I spend getting views versus doing the dentistry, there's no comparison.
not for now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why a lot of the stuff that I do, I mean, I'm 29 years old, and I encourage anyone watching this, and Zach, you too, like, dude, build for the long term. Build for the long term, dude. Delayed gratification is always going to be more powerful. Like it just builds who you are, But so I need to extract this from you. Okay, so you started here. You started a little bit. You told a little bit of your story. Okay, and I know your story a little bit, but dude, like, what are some, if someone's in college and they have an idea, do you have any advice for them to bring that idea into the real world?
Yeah, I have a lot of advice.
Okay, hit me.
So, this is not my marketer coming out. This is just me just sharing an observation. Being in marketing and advertising, I'm with people who always have new concepts and always have new ideas. But the thing that I hear all the time is ideas come cheap. Execution is what changes the game. That's what's expensive. And where you can maybe pay other people for that execution, find ways to increase your chances of luck. Build your infrastructure out. If you're in college, join a club that's associated with the industry that you're looking to get into. If you don't have a club, start building a club. You will gain network to more individuals who are passionate about student growth and success, especially within the institution. And when they hear about some of your amazing ideas, you'd be quite shocked how people want to help, want to introduce you to more people. People know people. I've also heard this other saying that you can get to anywhere you want in the world, anyone you want, through 6 touch points if you get to the right 6. So if you want to meet the President of the United States, get to the right 6 people, and you will surely meet that person. And so if you set up a club and you join other smaller groups, channels online, start changing who you follow, change your algorithm, start changing the content that you see, receive new information, you start giving yourself more chances to recognize opportunity. So then when you see them, you're less anxious to take action. Develop that sense of urgency, start taking more action, be less scared of failure, take more risk. So then you can learn and also meet more people, grow, and that ultimately gets you to where you need to be over time. I mean, there's no room for failure for someone who's that dedicated. Everything that I've learned from school before college was math. Basically, everything in life is an equation. And then what college taught me before I dropped out was big data. Everything is big data. So if you see that everything in life is just a big data math equation, you can literally see that this right here, you can make as simple as 2 + 2 equals your success. You just have to find the right equation. The best way I can articulate it for people, the best way I could, because that's how I've done everything so far. And I've seen the equation method work in almost everything. Everything really is math. I mean, from business to if this is a good idea or not, to, okay, well, show me the numbers. It's a math equation.
Straight up. It was, to go back to Sadhguru a little bit and just to give some more thoughts to this. People asked him, what would you attribute to your success? He said when he was 25, he said, I am going to give every human in the world access to peace. And when he was 25, the population of the world was 4 billion people. All right, so he consistently says, okay, 40 years later, and he pulls his big beard, I've affected 2 billion people, and there's 8 billion people on the planet. So I am a failure, technically, right? But the really cool part about that is that Sadhguru, at the very least, has changed my life, along with the other phenomenal people I've seen on social media. But he said that, the key to success is pretty simple. Is if you try to do the very best for life, not just for humans, but for life. If all of your actions are for the betterment of life or for the furthering of life, then you will be successful.
It's like the truth and honesty game always wins. Again, like the lightness always beats the darkness. It's literally historical scripture. It's always been shouted. And that's why I kind of took this concept growing into this. And if you want to start a new idea, I mean, Brandon Dawson and Grant Cardone even talk about it. Don't go into business as a liar. Be truthful, be transparent, be honest. Don't have a shady product. Go in and actually want to contribute. And if you bring life, like Turab just said, yes, I mean, everything will come into your favor, because everyone's always just getting screwed over and everyone's just looking for equilibrium. And so when you provide equilibrium, that's premium in a market that's relative to supply and demand. So make that money, Sonny.
And try to do it honestly, right? Like,
you have to, though.
Yeah,
that's the only way you will. Yeah.
That's the other stuff that I learned about networking and stuff. I mean, I saw a post from Dan Martell recently, and he was like, dude, the higher up you get, the quieter it gets. He's like the higher up you get, the quieter it gets. And that means that any noise people are going to pick up on. And you don't want that noise to be bad noise, because one person knows another person, they'll just pick up the call and be like, don't do business with that guy, and you'll be shut out forever. And that comes down to honesty. That comes down to how people see you. That comes down to if you can execute or not. So it does pay to just be honest with yourself and just be honest with people and just say, listen, like, maybe I'm not good at doing this stuff yet. I get it. Give me an opportunity. Because if you play it up too much, like, people are gonna see through your shit and they're gonna get sick and tired of your shit.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to be like, this is where I'm at, and I'll try my very best, and pay me what you think I deserve, not what I think I deserve.
That's putting the tail between the legs. Go ahead. Sorry, we spoke.
What does that mean? Putting the tail between the legs?
Well, think of like a dog, right? And when the dog gets like super aggressive and super feral, it wants to attack, and it's going in and it's about to pounce, but then it gets hit with reality. It walks away with its tail between its legs. It's humbled now. Its ego is shattered. And sometimes us as humans, we have so much fire that we let our ego really lash out. When in reality, sometimes we just have to be quiet. Be a little whimpering dog with our tail between our legs and just suck it up. Sometimes it's not how we want it to be. And when you do things like that, maybe you receive more. Right? Like what Turab's just saying. I mean, maybe you were charging a certain amount and being forceful on it, and now all of a sudden this person sees more value in your service and you're making more than what you were. A lot of people are actually hurting themselves with their pricing model. And yes, sometimes you do have to whimper and take a hit, but when you find the right people who value you, you get the value back in return.
And again, that comes down to the network. And you gotta actually step up and do a lot of shit for people. And try your very best to. I mean, I'm a dentist, right?
You're a cool ass dentist, man. You're not just a dentist. You're one of the best dentists in Ohio. I'd call it that, because you're 29 years old and you're creating an amazing network, and you're super, super friendly with kids, with staff, with patients, everyone that comes in, myself. This is an amazing new start to Ohio dental leadership, in my opinion, because who is right now? I don't really know many of people but you. So please continue to lead. We need you.
And I appreciate that, and I will. It's just because fucking what else would I be doing?
Damn it.
I'd be sitting there probably smoking pot all day. But seriously, like I love doing this stuff, and I finally gotten to a point where it makes a lot of sense where I'm going. To the point of...
Can I give another recommendation while you think?
Wait.
Okay, go ahead.
To the point of I'm just a dentist, okay? And to the point of the humility and the tail between the legs. Dude, I'll let you guys know, like, I got into dentistry because my mom literally told me. Like, my mom's from Pakistan. I lost my dad when I was 9. She, like, busted her ass, right? She said, Turab, I was a sophomore in college, getting stoned every single day. She had no idea. Okay. And she had some inkling of an idea, but she didn't put it on. But she literally, I like dropped out of computer science, and she was like, the fuck? Like, you failed this class twice? Like, it was 187 as data structures for my computer science nerds out there. And she's like, okay, well, You need to get your shit. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna go into architecture and ecology. She's like, no, you're gonna go become a fucking dentist. Okay, that's it. You're becoming a dentist. So I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, what? Who the fuck wants to be a dentist? And she's like, no, you're gonna become a dentist. And I'll tell you this: do whatever the hell you want, but you got to get your dental degree first. Otherwise, I ain't paying for anything. And I was like, I don't really have a super great track to ecologist, so let me go and be a dentist. So I got into microbiology and I did all this stuff. And dude, even to this day, I technically work for my mother. Okay, technically. Now I'm taking over more and more of the business as I go, but I still have that safety net. There was an older guy that said, when your mother dies, the world is a much scarier place. Fucking remember those words, right?
Oh yeah, I feel them. Yeah.
Yeah, remember those
I've
words.
felt them for a while. I don't want my mother to be gone. I'm sure a lot of people here watching don't either.
I mean, but it's the raw truth, right? And in terms of the tail between my legs, oh my God, the amount of times she's just been like, son, like, you talk to me like that. Do you realize whose house you live in? Do you realize who you work for? Go and find another fucking job. And I was like, I will go find another job. God damn it. But the reality is, right? I thought about it. I thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know what? Even if I'm being treated like this, even if I made the mistake, I will go through with this. I will go through with the pain of potentially not being taken seriously, whatever, because it will make me a stronger person.
Amen.
Because the things that I am going to learn through this process are going to be way more valuable than what I learned going at it alone and as an associate at some dental practice, and then trying to build my own business and da-da-da. Because at the end of the day, dude, I still love my family. I'm still going to end up coming right back here and being like, guys, let's hang out for vacation. Let's do some stuff. So I can either build a family's wealth, or I can go and start my own shit and do da-da-da. Now, for those of you that are listening, do what you believe is right. If you're in a relationship or whatever, and it's like really painful and you got to leave and do whatever, I ain't saying just stick it out and do whatever. But yeah, your whole shit's got to get torn down a lot of times. And you got to test your fucking theories, and you got to test your grit, because life will test you. When you want to go and do something, if life is not constantly throwing you down, you really don't want to do something. Like if you're not constantly, like, to some degree getting thrown down, you don't want to do something. I promise you. That's your indication that you are doing something if you constantly get thrown down.
I agree. I definitely agree. And for people who are at least continuing to get back up time after time, you'll see, hopefully, how to spot opportunities. And you'll have experience that when you start certain opportunities, a snowball starts to form. That's the momentum. This is the extra recommendation I wanted to give to people who are looking to start a new idea, is you'll see that execution, that idea that comes cheap, execution start forming through a snowball. And a lot of snowballs hit an obstacle and end up fading. But if you're able to keep the momentum going, get more people involved, get people to believe in it, that is what builds the snowball into something you don't have to push anymore. And when you have your snowball rolling down without you pushing it, you can focus on your next snowball, and then your next. That's when you become a serial entrepreneur, or someone who can execute, or someone who can, you see what I'm getting at here? It's really like a snowball effect, a good way I can articulate it. And I'm hoping to create another one here with an update too I'd like to share. Outside of the nonprofit, this coming Saturday, April 7th, in 2 weeks, is our rescheduled James Keys interview. He is the old founder, or not founder, but CEO of both 7-Eleven and Blockbuster. And he has grown his following since I've texted him pretty well. You know, when I texted him originally, he had around 20,000 followers on Instagram, and I said, hey, James Keys, I'd love to shoot an interview for you. And this is why content's amazing, or this is why at least social media, you go on there and utilize it for your advantage. Because it's a small marsh boy like me connect with a really, really reputable person who's spending millions of dollars in investments in rocket companies in Japan. He's on the board of many other multi-million-dollar companies in New York City. And conveniently, he's going to make a 2-hour interview and content session work with me on April 7th in Brooklyn, New York City.
By the way, for those of you guys that don't know, School of Hard Knocks, James Keys was on fucking School of Hard Knocks, guys.
That's right. And if you guys didn't know, yeah, that video also still got, almost well over 1 million views across all platforms. James is very credible, and he loves people, education, and community. He grew up without much. He was one of those fortunate guys who are able to, not have it handed down to them. And so I think me and him are going to be able to have a great conversation, and I'll be able to pick his brain and hopefully take some pointers, because it's kind of the similar journey I'm having myself.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another great recommendation on how you want to get somewhere. Reach out and provide that value. And sometimes it is going to be for free. But if you're strategic about it, you can utilize opportunity to create things even free for you. For example, instead of paying $1,000 for the studio for 4 hours, I got the studio owner, Saxon Studios, to just ask for a $100 crisp bill and call it a day, since James Keys is going to be in his studio and I'm bringing him there, and I'll just be able to shout out the studio right after. Not only that, but I called my security guy up in New York City, who does his own transportation service and executive security, and said James Keys is going to be coming. He said, "Oh my gosh, I follow him on LinkedIn. He was on the School of Hard Knocks." Literally what Turab just said. I was just on the phone with him before I joined this link today. And you're right. This guy is really well known, and we might be also asking this transportation guy to give James Keys a security detail from his hotel Manhattan to the studio and back, showing the level of capability that we can go and match at certain calibers for our clients as well here at the studio. And I'm still, guess what, guys, doing that for free, right? If I were to match all the costs here, I could break it down. It'd be around $6,000 to $7,000. But with opportunity and with content, you're able to do a service agreement with some businesses. And like you'll see here, I got even catering, all food and drinks, someone to come and do handhelds for production staff and James Tease's team for free. It's at least $500, $600 in catering. And Turab, me and you, we discussed this beforehand. Zach, you are to get all this shit covered. Well, damn, son, I did.
It's impressive.
Thank you.
And again, guys, Zach's still got a lot of work to do.
A lot. Wow. Yeah.
A lot. It's a great idea, but the execution, right? That's the shit. And so, dude, I'm super proud of you. Are you kidding me?
Thank you.
So cool.
I've already set up my next interview, because why just do one? Why not make this a series? Because the connection that James Keys could bring so much. If I already have one big name, let's keep it going. So I'm already working out this one guy. His name is Connor Camperghini. He's got this Lamborghini Urus, which is a Lamborghini SUV. He's got over 1 million on TikTok, 500,000 on social media, on Instagram, but he's traveling with his wife, Miss Camperghini, in this decked out Lamborghini Urus that's built for a camper, but he does amazing beautiful views and inspirational content and things with business. And so I'm already speaking with his media team on being the next interview person. This gives me a break to find another celebrity, to get another big name in there, but gives me an opportunity to get people like him easy, just because of James Keys. And people are going to want to pay for that premium and have their name on a list with other greats. And so I'm going to use this to build my snowball momentum, to build a new podcast series, to extend to build our connections and extend exactly our mission as well, to provide better content for people who really truthfully need it. And Turab, you're about to have a lot more introductions coming from myself soon too, and hopefully some podcasts to have, because if I have it successful, this was my theory before when I talked to you about this opportunity with James Keys, I can say, hey, I'd love for you to join this guy as well. You can share your audience there. Sure, just get me booked. Here's Alexa's email. Here's my executive assistant. Get it scheduled. You see what I mean? And then boom, I got James Keys X Turabify. Amen, brother. That's what brings me fulfillment. Massive. That's what brings me fulfillment. That's why I do this business. It's not for the check that Turab or James Keys gives, because James Keys, just full transparency, isn't paying me a dime. Mm-hmm. It's to connect the world. And I think that's what, Turab, if you want to remind everyone what Turabify is supposed to do, come on, I think now's a great time to throw in a call to action.
Yeah. So, listen, if you guys are interested in really that philosophy of making life better, of improving life locally, you're unsure of how to do it, or maybe you have something that's doing it, right? Reach out to info@turabify.com or go to turabify.com, link up, right? The network that we're making is international. The mentoring that we're offering is straight up hard-earned mentoring, right? The opportunities we're presenting, the operations that we're building out, they are purely service-based. Yes, there's money involved. Yes, you should make ample amounts of money, right? To have a good life and to afford the things for your people. But at the end of the day, having
it's
reach
free
out
to
Zach,
apply
to people as much as we can. Maybe later on we won't have the time. Find us. Find us now. Find us whenever you're listening to this, right? And to your point, Zach, of the James Keys stuff, people have asked me, like I've hired a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people so far. I say a lot, like it's like 50-ish, right? But they're like, dude, who the fuck is Zach? Like I get this question all the time from my executive assistant, like my HR guy. They're like, dude, who's Zach? Who's this guy? And I'm like, every time someone asks me this question, I'm like, he's like my number one mentee. He's like, he does my social media stuff. He's like, we like bounce ideas off of each other. He's like a friend of mine. I don't know what Zach is. That's like, and they're like, dude, Turab, you're such a strategic like thinker. Like all of your like decisions, like we talk about all this shit. And this, what do you mean this guy's just like has all these roles and stuff? And I'm like, I just have an intuition. I'm like, listen, if I bet on Zach, I have 100% hit chance because I know this kid's just not gonna stop. Even if I somehow drop off the face of the planet, Zach ain't gonna stop. And that's what you're looking for in life. You're looking for the people that are just gonna like, bro, this person's just driven, and if you have a chance to be a part of that, and you have a chance to even be that person, that's what other people want too. They want to be around someone that's driven. Okay, most other people don't. Most other people see driven people and they see a mirror and they don't like what they see. Okay, but some people, yeah. Some people really want driven people around them because they're driven too. And that's what Zach is for me. I'm like, dude, how many followers do we have on YouTube, right? Let me see.
We passed 3K.
Did we really?
Yeah, dude. And we're about past 4K in 2 weeks.
Oh my, yeah, we got 3.6 thousand followers. Okay. 3.6 thousand followers
last month.
Yeah, it was at 1,000. So in a month we grew 2,000 followers. Okay. Zach's running all this shit. I just made the content. Okay. And the reason is I know for myself and I know for the ecosystem, I'm like, bro, I ain't gonna stop making fucking videos. I ain't gonna stop growing my practice. I ain't gonna stop helping people. Never. Not until the day I die. There is no way it's not gonna work. There is no way that we're not gonna make ridiculous amounts of money. We're never gonna stop. What are you gonna do? What the fuck are you gonna do? You're gonna break my legs? You're gonna break my hands? Dude, I'll figure it out. What are you gonna do? You know what I mean? So that's the type of shit you're looking for, and that's why like I can't say that to a lot of people because they don't get it. They don't get it. Some people do, but a lot of people just won't understand. Like, what is Zach? It's like, she's a fucking force, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
It's the same with like, when I reintroduce new employees into the company, like what I'm about to do on Monday. This new social media manager, Sierra, she's about to ask the same question: who's Turab? Or she's about to discover who Turab is. And, you'll have different individuals like Spencer. And Spencer will come in and he'll start crying. And he'll just be like, you guys need to know Turab. Out of anyone in my life.
Is Spencer still around?
We took a year break because of a disrespectful moment. An ego clash there was. But then he came back and he apologized. And I forgave him. And it's now because, again, I'm going to need help here locally when I scale. And if he can fix himself and become who he needs to be, he can have the local opportunity because I'm going to be on a lot of bigger things. I can't be running the show here the whole time. I need to set the expectation and hand it down. And if he's going to be that person, then so be it, And, he's met you and he respects you deeply. And this is what Spencer Trent has said. This is his testimonial when meeting Turab, is that not many people have been able to make him emotional. Not many people have been able to break him or get into his head. But within the first 20 minutes of Spencer sitting down with Turab, Spencer got broken into. Not in a bad way, but Turab really shared a deep perspective and started going into some things that helped shape Spencer's psyche and break some past trauma, some things that he was holding as barriers. And he started getting emotional. No one has been able to do that to Spencer. And so he's developed this sense of respect and almost like no one else could do what Turab has done. And he keeps vouching that. And he deeply respects Turab to this day. If you want to find someone who you can look up to, someone who's going to care about you and give you words of advice because he's not going to sugarcoat it because he doesn't have to, you need to hear it bluntly, go to www.turabify.com and apply for free. It doesn't take anything but about 10 seconds. Go ahead and fill out the information. We'd love to hear from you. I'm telling you right now, it takes 10 seconds and it's free to just apply. Go ahead and put in your information. You want to talk to this guy? You can do it today. It can change your life. And I highly recommend that personally. Because of, I mean, Spence, I can't see him talk about anyone like that. He's a little stubborn person. Trust me, he's very stubborn. He's a joker too. But for him to talk to Rob up like no one else, it's like, again, no one can understand. It's like the same thing when people are asking who's Zach. You just don't get it unless you're there, unless you actually get to meet him, unless you're there from the start. And that's what gets me so frustrated with relationships too. You know, I just wish, you know, I had a spouse that was there from the start, or, you know, I wish I had a couple friends that were there from the start. But that's why I'm also very grateful for Tarab. And by the way, guys, this guy's gonna be my best man at my wedding too, which is crazy.
I would love to, dude.
Listen,
dude, the girl that gets to marry you, God bless that girl.
Yeah, right. But
God
that's the level of respect Tarab gets from me. No matter what, no matter if we get another check here at the studio or not, I'm still gonna visit him in Ohio, and I'm still gonna invite him to become my best man. And I'm still gonna annoy his ass and give him a call. No, yeah, he's gonna be busy practicing dental, you know, stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna at least make myself known and try my best to still be in his life, because that's how valuable this guy is, truthfully.
Guys, and for those of you that are looking to get into media and stuff, dude, my brother, let's talk about this guy, right? My brother, he's like, yo, there's this guy that's trying to build his brand, and he's trying to make like a course and trying to do some shit. And he's like, can you talk to him? Can you give him some wisdom? I was like, what the fuck, dude? No, like, this guy sounds lame. You know, he gave me his number. He's like, yo, send him some stuff. You know, I was like, okay, fine. But like three months later, he like brought it up again. Did you say anything? I was like, all right, fine. Give me his number, right? Get this guy's number. I was like, yo, I know this kid, Zach. Hit him up. Here's his number. He's like, he's not on the internet, man. Sorry, not interested. I was like, dude, I just gave you free fucking game. I just hit you in the damn with a bar of gold, and your dumb ass does not even understand what I've done for you. All right, good luck. You know, and guys, it's like you don't have to have the best person in the world running your shit. You don't have to have Grant Cardone running all your shit. Okay, Grant Cardone, everyone knows fucking Grant Cardone because his ass has been marketing for fucking 30. Grant Cardone has been doing this for 30 years, dude. 35, 40 years, dude. Okay, everyone knows about him. That does not mean he's the only game in town. In fact, that does not mean that you can afford his ass or that his shit's gonna work for you. It probably will. I mean, he has a great track record, right? But when it comes to building your personal shit, when it comes to building your network, when it comes to all this stuff, like, you gotta just find raw, real people that you align with and just build shit. Otherwise, what's the fun? Are you gonna like go and get a big corporation to do your stuff? Yeah, sure. It's gonna cost you a lot over time, and it might not work still. If you don't get anything out of this podcast, what works is not giving up.
Who wants it more? That's the power. That's the equation. That's what I was trying to get at earlier. That I figured out in business is whoever wants it more wins. And you'll see this time after time after time again. If you want to study the celebrities, if you want to study the greats, if that's who you want to become, they wanted it more than the other person, and that's how they got that spotlight. They fall for it, and they did it by not giving up.
Straight up. Zach, we should probably call it on the podcast.
We can, if you want.
What's one thing that you want to buy in your life that you're really excited about buying?
All right. I love architecture and I love security. And so the one thing that I strive to, and guess what? I had ADT actually recommend that I become a potential public speaker for them. I'm going to reach out to them, and they're the security company, because they're like, well, you know your stuff, and being able to prepare yourself for your finances, how to protect your finances and yourself and your home, etc. You should go and target younger kids and college students and how to protect their homes and stuff, and how life's going to be more dangerous. Like, that's the perfect target audience that these security companies are looking for, because they're only getting like people in their 30s and 40s and 50s. I can come in and help them with their 20s. But a part of that is really taking my architecture and security and purchasing land, and taking my connections that I've built over the last couple of years and utilizing each one to give a grand opportunity. The biggest purchase I think that I'm going to have is going to be a festival. It's going to be a celebration, and it's going to be my first home. And when you do it right in the first way, or when you do everything right the first time, things are just wonderful. And if I get the right people involved, right, like to Rob. I don't know how you would get involved, but you know, if I had the home builders, like the home builders that we met from Grant Cardone, Richmond luxury home builders, on top of some roofing companies that I knew and some HVAC companies, and like you see, like everyone that we service, bring them all together for one grand project, be able to get a little bit of the cost cut down because we're going to market it and make it a whole video and do do everything the right way and be able to show everyone what it looks like to do this full branded project and show what branded projects could do for our companies and for ourselves. Like that's what I'm getting super excited about. It's like building my life as a project. My first purchase is like really just like growing everyone, like, you know, like, but also it's giving myself what I think everyone needs. Everyone needs a home, you know. Okay, everyone needs to feel like they're secure.
Whoa, holy shit.
Yeah, that's big shit.
Whoa. Okay, so I asked you this question. Okay, so I just to clarify, do you want to buy a festival? Do you want to buy a land? Or do you want to buy whatever that third thing is?
I want to buy
You probably want to buy all of it, but
I want to buy land.
Okay,
and
you want to buy a land. Okay.
On that land, so I own the land and own the house, but have a celebration a part of that, right? Because the process...
Just one celebration?
There could be many celebrations, but I think just like the symbol of the building of the house with the vendors that are selected that have been our network that are coming together to do this, and then having our company that we've built record the whole process and find ways to maximize each single revenue stream for each of the business you see throughout this, and like we do this all perfectly. And we take
wait, let me get this straight.
That would be a celebration. Right after that, we would want to celebrate, you know?
What you want to buy is an operation.
It's an experience.
Okay. So very high on your experience list is a really crazy festival around building a house on land. Am I getting that right?
No. No, it's not.
So you're not very clear about the.
It's not a very festival. I'm trying to be. I'm trying to.
I mean, it's a hard question. It's a hard question. And you're a very emotional man, I've learned over the years.
Yes, very. And to break it down is I'm going to purchase land and build a house on it and celebrate with everyone involved after the house is built. Because it is a big symbol for a man to purchase his first home and to have that house. I think it's a big symbol. Is
this going to be the first home? The first home you're going to have a huge party?
I feel like that. But I mean, I'm gonna have a huge party anyway, all the time. But I'm just saying, like,
that's what I was about to say.
At the end of the day,
you're an entertainment agency.
This is just like something to celebrate with everyone, like in a family way. You know, like Turab, if I were to sit down with you, like one-on-one, and I bought my house, I mean, you definitely helped contribute to that. You deserve to be there. Number one, and number two, that's like a big deal. You see what I mean? Like for us to pop that bottle, it's not like I want to have a party with a shit ton of people. No, I want you there, and I want the people who are involved in growing the business and getting to where we are there, because that's my big thanks again. But then also the respect, and it's just everything involved. This is life. You see what I'm getting at here? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the experience and sharing life together with everyone. And if I am successful in growing the company and providing the service that everyone needs, I keep the relationships and I get there. And that's what I saw for my brothers. You know, the one thing that I wanted to purchase before this was my wedding. And I wanted to have that experience of bringing both of my brothers and all of my family under the one house or on the beach or wherever, so I could see everyone and have a normal family setting for once in my life. And my brother died, and I will never be able to do that. Yeah, I would love to do that, and it will happen in the future, but that will never happen. So for me now, I look forward to that, and I think that experience is what I'll purchase. I don't purchase items, I purchase experiences. I like to travel, I like to experience things, because we only live this one life. And money comes and goes, experiences don't. Especially when you have them at this time in life, being youthful. I'd love to work super old, but damn, if my back's hurting as I'm eating that steak, I mean, I might as well just take the knife and start cutting myself, man. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't want to be 90 and just be like not enjoying nothing, you know? Like you have to be strategic with your life too. And that's why I'm more inclined to spend or purchase something that's more like experience based than like an idol. I don't want to idolize things. I'm not very materialistic. Now, I will be strategic with certain materials to help enhance perception and get me further in life, but I don't idolize them. Yeah. It's a big difference.
Cool.
What about you?
I was going to be like, ladies and gentlemen, Zachery Thornton, and end it here, but I'm sorry.
I
don't care. It's fine. So The reason, let me go back real quick. The reason that I asked the question is because a long time ago, when I first watched Grant Cardone's videos, I like went on a webinar. And he's like, "Bro, you want to be rich?" He's like, "You need to think about money." And I was like, "Okay, what is money?" And then he like explained all this stuff about money. And he's like, "You need to have something you're excited about buying. Like you need to have a lot of shit you're really excited about buying." And dude, for like 2 years, I have not really had anything significant. Like nothing like in my brain that I'm like, oh, okay, this is really cool. But then I watched that Sadhguru podcast with that guy, and the guy was like pointing at like, damn it, doesn't go up.
No.
Oh, there you go. So this is you know, he had like some sort of painting or something behind, you know, in his podcast. He's like, these are the Blue Mountains. I want to go and live at the Blue Mountains. Okay. And so Sadhguru like looked at that. He's like, so you want to like go live in Jamaica? What the fuck you doing in London? You know? And the guy's like, you know, he's like, no, it's just a pipe dream. Like you're not gonna go do that. If you wanted to go do that, you'd be living in Jamaica. I was like, yeah, you're so fucking right. So one of the things that I want to buy is a fucking huge plot of land on an interesting topography area, and I'd like to have some semblance of a farm there, but mostly it needs to have some forested area. And I just want to be able to sit there and quiet. So that's something I want to buy, you know. But there's like other things, you know. I'd like to buy a jet. I think it'd be cool to have a jet.
Well, yeah.
I wanna have a studio, like a music studio, like a full kitted music studio.
You deserve that.
And then I make music, guys. Go check out Turabify on Spotify. Lol. I want to buy Spotify. Do you know that I named Turabify after Spotify?
Isn't it a goal to buy every single company with IFY?
With IFY at the end, yes. That's a bit of a pipe dream. The other stuff I'm definitely gonna get.
I love it.
Yeah. You know, you gotta have stuff you want to buy. How are you gonna want money if you don't have something you need to buy?
Right.
You know what I mean? You gotta have the fucking money to buy it. So yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, Zachery Thornton, we'll be doing these more, and freaking love you, dog. And, you know, just keep crushing, and good luck with James Keys, and I'll see you here on April 11th for our freaking awesome ass free clinic that we're putting on and a bunch of other stuff.
I can't wait. Kayla can't wait too. And we have a lot to do. So just continuing to take things one day at a time. I know you're packed with stuff right now. I am too.
Dude, I can't believe we have 3,000 fucking followers on YouTube.
Trob, I know, but at the same time, I've been kind of wishing this happened a little bit earlier. We've been kind of already been pushing it. You see what I mean? All right, so regardless, you guys just tune in. We're hitting 10K this year. You're breaking through on YouTube. So if you guys haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to Turabify.
Peace.